Imagine the moment when the masks you've carried for a lifetime begin to slip away, one by one, until you can no longer hold them in place. What once felt ordinary now weighs heavy, like an old burden that no longer fits. This is not depression nor emptiness. It is a quiet call from within, a subtle awakening. It seeps through the cracks of your routines like water shaping stone, gradually transforming the person you believed yourself to be. At this threshold, a new reality begins to unfold. Awakening rarely arrives like thunder crashing across the sky. Instead, it enters softly, like a persistent breeze that unsettles your certainties. Small talk begins to lose its flavor. Old ambitions lose their shine. Even the hunger for approval starts to fade. You feel a restlessness, as if the clothes of your old identity have grown too tight. Life, once organized by the expectations of others, begins to reveal itself as an invisible cage, and deep inside, your heart longs for freedom. In this moment, when you sense something greater is stirring, I invite you to stay with me in this reflection. Here on Dazzle of Dawn, our purpose is to journey through the deeper layers of consciousness, bridging metaphysics with quantum physics to uncover the truths vibrating within us all. And if this message resonates with you, I encourage you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. On a metaphysical level, even this small gesture is a quantum act of expansion. By interacting, you activate a field of resonance that strengthens your own path and sends ripples of transformation outward to others. Quantum mechanics teaches us that the observer alters the phenomenon observed. In the same way, every focus of attention reshapes your personal reality. By choosing to be fully present here, listening and opening space for inner dialogue, you are already influencing the invisible field that binds all things together. That is the essence of awakening. Realizing the power has never been outside of you. It has always been within. Metaphysics broadens this understanding, reminding us that every mask that falls is nothing more than a shell that never belonged to your essence. You are not losing anything. You are uncovering what has always been real. When you stop living for external approval, you create space for your authentic self to bloom. Just as a flower doesn't struggle to be admired, it blossoms simply because that is its nature. This is the invitation of the first step. Do not resist the discomfort, and do not fear the sensation that the ground beneath you is shifting. Awakening is not destruction, it is birth. It is the quiet tide reshaping the shores of your life. And as we walk this path together, you will discover that every release is truly a liberation. Beneath the layers of false identity, there is a self so radiant, so free, that life itself seems to be reborn each time you remember who you truly are. The inner calling. And there comes a moment, almost too subtle to notice, when something deep within begins to whisper your true name. It is not the ego demanding recognition, nor the restless voice of comparison measuring your worth. It is a steady pulse, ancient and familiar, waiting for the silence to finally be heard. You begin to see that all the answers you once searched for in books, teachings, or quick spiritual shortcuts were only maps. The real territory opens now, within you, where life itself asks for presence, courage, and radical honesty. This calling, though gentle, carries the firmness of quantum phenomena. Tiny shifts in focus can alter entire patterns of reality. When your attention withdraws from the theater of appearances and rests in the raw experience of now, the field around you begins to rearrange. It is as if new pathways of probability suddenly become available. This is not superstition or mystical fantasy. It is coherence. When intention, emotion, and action align, perception itself becomes the doorway to transformation. At first, it may feel unsettling, like returning to a home you left years ago and finding the furniture rearranged. The body asks for a slower rhythm. The mind resists, trying to replay its old scripts. And the heart, patient as ever, continues to beat in the cadence of what is essential. Here, metaphysics offers a guiding light. Being does not need adornment to exist. When the effort to appear dissolves, truth rises with its own gravity, crumbling facades that can no longer bear the weight of authenticity. To make this tangible, try a simple exercise. Choose a quiet moment in your day to sit for 5 minutes. Keep your eyes half open, breathe naturally, and let your thoughts drift by like clouds. Bring your attention gently to the sensation of simply being here. Then, plant a short, clear, loving intention, like sowing a seed. Today, may I act from truth. As the day unfolds, notice how small, aligned choices emerge almost effortlessly, as if the field itself is responding to your coherence. You might think this inner call requires dramatic gestures, sudden ruptures, or monumental decisions. Yet most often, it reveals itself in the details. Saying no where fear once made you yield, pausing before reacting, choosing words that do not wound, offering forgiveness without self-punishment, closing a chapter without resentment. Each gesture, simple and exact, edits the script of your reality. Each choice fine-tunes the frequency through which you both emit and receive the world. And when you honor this call, something unmistakable takes root. A quiet dignity. Not the pride that separates, but the wholeness that embraces. You begin to walk with less urgency to prove and more willingness to serve, not from submission, but from abundance. Then you understand, awakening is not about climbing a spiritual peak, but about returning to the fertile ground of being, where simplicity becomes sacred, and every step, even the hesitant ones, reopens the horizon of what is possible. Letting go of masks. There comes a moment when you realize you can no longer sustain the performance. The automatic smiles feel fragile, rehearsed words sound hollow, and your body itself begins to resist every false gesture. This shift doesn't come from anger, but from an inner strength that refuses to be molded by external expectations. Like a tree that has reached deeper waters, you no longer draw nourishment from shallow approval. You begin to feed on authenticity. From a quantum perspective, this is like the collapse of a wave function. For so long, countless roles and masks existed as possibilities. But now your awareness selects a single state, the state of truth. Each time you release the need to please, reality reorganizes to mirror your genuine self. And in that simple release, you feel a lightness no performance could ever provide, because there is nothing left to hide. Often, The first mask to fall is the hunger for approval. You notice you can no longer bend yourself into strange shapes just to be accepted. Suddenly, the effort to be validated becomes exhausting, unsustainable. It is as though your vital energy decides to flow only toward what is authentic. Though uncomfortable at first, this marks the beginning of true freedom, a life no longer dependent on applause to feel legitimate. Metaphysics reminds us that each mask is just a layer of illusion, built from the fear of not being enough. When that layer dissolves, what emerges is a quiet, intrinsic worth, a value that never relied on anyone else's gaze. This worth is like a compass placed within the heart, pointing unfailingly toward truth, no matter who is watching. It becomes an inner North Star, silently guiding every step you take. A practical exercise is to pay attention to your daily gestures. How many times do you smile without meaning it? How often do you say yes when your heart wanted to say no? Notice these small betrayals of self without judgment. Each time you catch one, take a slow breath and give yourself permission to act from truth. It may feel awkward, even frightening, but this is the training ground of authenticity, exchanging the need for approval with the strength of inner integrity. And as this practice becomes habitual, something remarkable unfolds. You don't just feel lighter, you begin to shine brighter. Paradoxically, the less you try to stand out, the more luminous you become. Just as flowers don't bloom to impress, but simply because blooming is their nature, you too discover you don't need to be special. You only need to be real. And in that simplicity, life itself reveals an extraordinary beauty that was always waiting beneath the surface. The illusion of being special. For much of life, the desire to be special seems almost unavoidable. You worked hard to stand out, to prove your worth, to be admired and recognized. Yet as awakening deepens, this craving begins to dissolve, slowly, like snow melting under the sun. Then comes the unsettling question: if I am not special, then who am I? This inquiry is disarming to the ego, but it opens the door to a form of authenticity that no longer depends on applause or comparison. Quantum mechanics offers a mirror for this truth. Every particle exists within a shared field, all originating from the same source. The electron shining in a distant star is no different from the one vibrating in your body at this very moment. This interconnection reveals that the illusion of being isolated and unique is merely a construct of the mind. When you release the demand to stand out, you uncover a wider truth. Your uniqueness doesn't need to be defended, it simply radiates, like the natural vibration of a wave. At first, this can feel frightening. Without the drive to be special, life may seem to lose its color, as if a void has opened. But gradually, you discover a quiet beauty in being ordinary, in belonging to the natural flow. It is here that your real light emerges. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped struggling to reinvent yourself to impress others. Simplicity itself begins to carry an immeasurable strength. Here's a practical example. Notice the moments when you feel the urge to share something only to elevate yourself, to prove that you know more or have lived something more impressive. Before speaking, Take a breath. Ask yourself, am I expressing truth or just seeking attention? Often, silence will reveal more than 1,000 words. This conscious pause acts like a quantum recalibration, an adjustment that realigns your inner field with the frequency of truth. Metaphysics expands this view by showing that when the pursuit of specialness falls away, a new perception is born. The extraordinary is hidden in the ordinary. The simple acts of walking, breathing, or listening are themselves miracles. Life does not demand performance to be meaningful. It simply asks for presence. True radiance does not come from titles or achievements, but from how fully you allow yourself to be present in each moment. What is common becomes extraordinary because it is real. And here lies the paradox. The less you try to be special, the more radiant you become. It is as if life itself, sensing that you no longer pretend, amplifies your authenticity. And this authenticity, free of competition, free of the need to prove, inspires more deeply than any spectacle. This is the key. Awakening does not erase your individuality. It frees it from the burden of display. In this state, you flourish exactly as life always intended. The performance of happiness. When there comes a point when you grow weary of wearing the mask of endless happiness, the constant smile, the demand to radiate positivity, the effort to appear light even in the face of pain, these become unbearable. You realize you no longer have the energy to force a brightness that does not match what you truly feel. In that moment, awakening whispers, spirituality is not a theater of eternal joy. It is the courage to be real, embracing every color of the human experience. Quantum physics reminds us that observation changes the phenomenon. When you try to manipulate your own pain with masks of cheerfulness, you create interference in your inner field, producing vibrational incoherence. But when you allow yourself to feel sadness, anger, or confusion as legitimate parts of your journey, coherence begins to form. It is like tuning frequency with reality itself. The field stops resisting and starts flowing, and healing reveals itself through the simple act of acceptance. Metaphysics teaches that to deny pain is also to deny the opportunity to transcend it. By letting the heart feel without filters, you discover that sorrow can be just as sacred as joy. Both are expressions of the same river of life. True spirituality is born here, not in avoiding the shadows, but in dancing with them, knowing that even the darkest night prepares the rebirth of dawn. Wholeness emerges when you stop dividing life into acceptable and unacceptable emotions. In practice, this means giving yourself permission not to smile when you don't want to, not to repeat affirmations you don't believe, not to carry forced optimism when your soul longs for silence. This is an exercise in vibrational honesty. Each morning, you might ask yourself, what truth is alive in my heart today? Then live that truth, whether light or heavy, as part of your path. That simple act is profoundly liberating because it restores the dignity of being whole. At first, this honesty may unsettle those around you. People who grew accustomed to your mask may find your authenticity uncomfortable because they relied on your performance. Yet over time, they will see that the light born of truth is far more inspiring than any false smile. This light does not blind, manipulate, or demand. It simply shines gently, like a candle that warms without haste, steady and unextinguishable. And so you begin to understand that true happiness is not performance. It is integration. To cry when there is sorrow and to laugh when there is joy is to reconnect with the fullness of life itself. This surrender to authenticity becomes liberation. The weight of pretending to be happy dissolves. And in its place arises something deeper, the quiet peace of living unmasked, complete, human and divine, all at once. Surrendering to uncertainty. When the masks fall and the performance fades, a new challenge emerges: uncertainty. The ego, so accustomed to defining, labeling, and controlling, suddenly stands before the unknown. What once felt solid no longer offers support, and the craving for rigid certainties begins to dissolve. Awakening invites you to release the anchor and allow yourself to sail into open waters, where mystery is not a threat, but a living invitation to expansion. Quantum mechanics reminds us that the universe is not fixed, but probabilistic. Every moment holds countless potentials that only solidify when consciousness interacts. The inner life mirrors this truth. When you cling tightly to certainty, you shrink the infinite dance of possibilities into a narrow script. Yet when you embrace not knowing, you create space for new realities to collapse into being before your eyes, revealing horizons you could never have predicted. Metaphysics deepens this understanding by showing that truth cannot be captured in final formulas. It is far too alive to be imprisoned by words. Awakening, therefore, is not about collecting explanations. It is about cultivating humility before the mystery. Within that openness, consciousness flourishes, free from rigidity, breathing in the freshness of life that reinvents itself moment by moment without needing the intellect's approval. Practically, you can turn the discomfort of doubt into fertile ground. Instead of rushing for instant answers to every unease, pause and breathe. Whisper to yourself, "I don't know." And it's okay not to know. This simple gesture, repeated often, relaxes the mind and creates inner space where new insights can arise. Just as science thrives on creative doubt, your awareness also grows stronger in the fertile soil of uncertainty. And the paradox is that by letting go of the need for certainty, you discover a peace deeper than any answer could give. It is like regaining the eyes of a child who marvels at the unfolding of life without demanding explanations. In this state, each moment becomes an unexpected gift, each encounter a revelation, each silence an opening to something greater than yourself. In the end, living with uncertainty is living in freedom. The certainties you once clung to as security reveal themselves to be chains. Surrendering to the unknown, on the other hand, opens the way for life's current to guide your steps. Within that flow, you realize you don't need control to feel safe, nor definitions to feel whole. Paradoxically, surrendering to uncertainty becomes the greatest certainty life can offer, that everything is always in the process of being reborn. Liberation from guilt. As awakening deepens, you begin to notice that guilt no longer finds a place in your heart. For years it acted like a chain, keeping you tied to old stories, painful memories, and resentments that seem to justify your suffering. But eventually, carrying that weight becomes unsustainable. Awakening does not deny the wounds. It reveals that guilt never heals them. Instead, it prolongs them, like shadows refusing to leave even after the light has risen. In quantum physics, every system naturally seeks balance. The same is true within your inner field. Clinging to guilt is like introducing noise into a vibrational system, keeping it in disharmony. When you choose to release guilt, even gradually, the entire system shifts toward coherence. The energy once trapped in regret returns as creative potential. It is like clearing space for light to reorganize the inner chaos into order. Metaphysics widens this perspective by showing that painful experiences are not punishments, but invitations. Each conflict points to something that needs attention. Each wound highlights a part of yourself you once abandoned. In this context, guilt becomes useless, for it blinds you to the lesson hidden in the experience. By letting go of guilt, you do not erase the past. You transform it into wisdom. What was once a prison becomes a stepping stone, a bridge toward greater freedom. Practically, when you notice guilt arising, pause and take a deep breath. Then ask yourself 2 questions. What did this situation come to teach me? And how can I act differently moving forward? These questions redirect your energy from self-condemnation to awareness. It is like turning a beam of light that once illuminated only the pain, so that now it also reveals the opportunity for growth hidden within it. As you release guilt, a surprising truth unfolds. No one else holds power over you anymore. Those who once hurt you no longer appear as enemies but as mirrors. Each reflection shows not condemnation, but an opportunity to reintegrate forgotten parts of yourself. Even pain in this light takes on purpose. It stops being a burden and becomes a teacher, guiding you toward a broader, freer consciousness. This liberation does not happen all at once, but in waves, like tides washing the shore little by little. Each time you release a fragment of guilt, a new freedom rises within you. And when you look back, you realize that the weight which once seemed eternal no longer has a hold on you. Awakening shows that true justice is not found in punishing others or yourself, but in learning, integrating, and moving forward. This is the silent force that opens the heart fully to life. Spirituality without escape. One of the most subtle movements of awakening happens when you stop using spirituality as an escape. For a long time, you may have meditated only to avoid pain, recited uplifting phrases to hide your anger, or leaned on lofty concepts to bypass your own humanity. But eventually, even the body begins to reject this disguise, calling you back into the raw experience of life, where spirit and flesh are meant to meet again. Quantum physics shows us that there is no absolute separation between the observer and the system observed. Likewise, there is no true split between your spiritual nature and your human reality. To use spiritual practices merely as a shield against life is like trying to measure a particle without acknowledging it as part of the same field of possibilities. Awakening demands coherence. It is not enough to float above life. You are called to live it, to embody it fully, to inhabit every nuance with presence. Metaphysics deepens this truth. The divine is not distant from our imperfections, but pulses through them. Fear, sadness, anger, and even confusion are not flaws, but expressions of the richness of being. When you allow yourself to feel them without judgment, you discover that even the heaviest emotions carry seeds of wisdom. Awakening does not demand that you deny your humanity. It asks that you honor it as the very gateway into the sacred. Practically, this means resisting the urge to silence your feelings with hollow mantras or rushed meditations. Instead, sit in stillness and ask your heart, "What am I truly feeling right now?" Listen without haste, even if the answer is uncomfortable. Notice how, when you stop running away, emotions begin to dissolve naturally. Just as in wave physics, energy does not vanish by force. It transforms when allowed to move freely. The body, too, plays a vital role in this journey. When you attempt to escape human experience, the body responds with tension, symptoms, or restlessness. But when you choose presence, the body relaxes, recognizing it no longer has to carry the weight of repression. Spirit and matter are no longer enemies. They become allies in the same dance, where the soul leads and the body responds, creating a rhythm of wholeness that brings freedom. Thus, awakening reveals itself not as escape, but as embodiment. To be spiritual is not to avoid pain, but to walk through it with awareness. It is allowing yourself to be human in all your vulnerability, while knowing that every tear holds a spark of divinity. In this state, life is no longer something to avoid. It becomes the sacred ground of experience, where each breath is a prayer and every step an act of presence. The end of isolation. In the early stages of awakening, it is common to feel isolated. You look around and it seems as if everyone else is still asleep, locked into patterns that no longer make sense to you. A quiet distance emerges, like an invisible barrier separating your new state of awareness from the world around you. Though painful, this sense of isolation is temporary. It belongs to the transition. The old no longer fits, and the new has not yet fully formed. Quantum physics reminds us that no particle exists independently. All are connected through invisible fields. The same is true of consciousness. The sense of being separate is only a result of limited perception. As awakening deepens, you begin to sense that you are never truly alone. A silent web of interconnection unites every human being, every gesture, every glance. What once felt like isolation gradually transforms into a profound sense of belonging. Metaphysics reinforces this by showing that awakening does not make you different or superior. It makes you more aware of our shared humanity. You begin to see yourself reflected in others, even in those who seem far from any inner search. The stranger on the street, the co-worker lost in distractions, even the person who once hurt you, all become mirrors, reminding you that separation is an illusion. Awakening dissolves barriers and expands compassion beyond boundaries. Practically, This means opening yourself to simple encounters without labels or demands. Sitting with someone, listening without judgment, allowing presence to speak louder than words. When you release the need for others to be awake in order to connect, you discover that every relationship contains a meeting point, being itself. This attitude builds bridges, not through the content of ideas, but through the vibration of acceptance and presence. At this stage, loneliness begins to give way to a new kind of community. It is not about gathering with those who share the same beliefs, but about a quiet communion where love of presence outweighs differences. You learn to be with anyone, awake or not, without the need to prove yourself or to hide behind defenses. This openness turns ordinary encounters into experiences of healing and genuine belonging. And perhaps the greatest gift of moving beyond isolation is the rediscovery of love. Not romantic love, nor an idealized version of it, but the essential love that arises when masks fall away, and what remains between us is simply presence. In this recognition, you realize you were never truly alone. Awakening does not separate you from the world. It reconnects you to life in its fullness. Integration and return to essence. We arrive now at the place where all the threads come together. Awakening is not about adding new layers, but about releasing what was never truly yours. The need for approval, the pressure to be special, the performance of happiness, the grip of rigid certainty, the weight of guilt, the escape into spirituality, and the illusion of isolation. Each release may have felt at first like a loss, even a kind of death. But with clear eyes, you see that every falling away was actually liberation, and every emptiness became fertile ground for what is real to blossom. In quantum physics, a system finds stability only when coherence emerges among its parts. The same is true in your life. When mind, emotion, and action move together in harmony with truth, you create a coherent field, one capable of reshaping your reality with ease and grace. The entire universe begins to respond to your authentic vibration, as if each conscious step were a note resonating in perfect rhythm with the greater cosmic symphony. Metaphysics reminds us that awakening is not an achievement for a chosen few, but a return available to all. It is a memory reawakening in the heart, reminding you of who you were before the masks. This return does not happen suddenly, but gradually, like waves advancing and retreating until the tide finally shifts. In this patient rhythm, you realize you are never becoming someone better. You are only remembering who you always were. In practice, integration means choosing to live each day with presence. It means carving out moments for stillness, gratitude, and awareness. It means recognizing that every challenge carries within it an opportunity to expand. Every encounter is a mirror, and every emotion is a valid color in the painting of your existence. Integration is bringing the sacred into the ordinary, allowing daily life to become the altar, where each breath is a celebration of the miracle of being. From this state, life, once heavy, becomes simple, fluid, luminous. You discover you no longer need to fight the river. It already carries you toward the sea. True awakening is not about adding anything new, but allowing the current of existence to wash away what never belonged. What remains at the core is love, not the fragile love that depends on conditions, but essential love, the silent foundation that sustains the entire universe. So gather all that we have walked through. Honor your falls, celebrate your returns, and trust the process. Awakening is not a finish line, but an ongoing path of remembering, releasing, and being reborn. Each time you choose to live without masks, truth reveals itself more clearly. And in that return to essence, you discover the greatest of miracles, that nothing was ever missing, you were never broken, and you were never alone. You have been whole from the very beginning. And so, see you in the next video, with more information on everything that involves growing, evolving, transforming, and manifesting. See you soon.